I started collecting bricks probably 22, 23 years ago, and it suddenly came to me that these were of importance. And let's face it, bricks built the country. But then every one of these bricks is different. And just as an amusing aside, if we look at this here, this brick is from Accrington. I used to work in Accrington. I didn't even know they had any bricks. But on here, of course, we can see Accrington NORI brick. Very, very hard play. But the thing is, it should have said iron. The man printed it incorrectly. So we'd suddenly got a few million bricks all the wrong way round. But it's stuck and it's still here. Now, all my bricks, and I can't tell you how many are, but there are hundreds, are all from different mine sites. So, I mean, if we look at this one here, this is a local brick from Camerton, and Camerton was a coal mine in West Cumbria, and that's where this came from. It came from the portal heading. It was made out of brick. I don't know when it was made, but Peter will probably tell you that exactly to the date. But the lozenge shape here, every one is different. They're all different clays, and it's just became an obsession. The only problem is that carrying two of these across the fell is absolutely bad news. You know, they start to get extremely heavy, and of course some of them are well embedded into the ground. This is an interesting brick. As you can see, it's shaped, and it's been for arching in a chimney to be laid round so as it goes round like that, or on the top of the furnace going round like this. And that's from Greenside mine, and was part of the smelt mill flue, which was constructed round about 1825. So fairly old brick. But the other thing that's amazing about bricks is they're all different colours, and they're from all different areas. This one is a Pease brick, and this is from Scordle mine over in the up by Hilton there, and it was just a basic house brick, probably used as a lining for the fire back or something like that, but it's in quite good condition. And the Pease family are still alive and were great entrepreneurs for the North East. I believe that they were into shipping as well as making bricks and coal mining. This is another local coal brick, because what happened was, as the miners were sinking the pits for the coal, they were going through clay, and so what happened was they were actually mining clay and also bringing out the coal, so it was like a double-edged sword. They were actually having two things for the price of one. And indeed, one very, very large brickworks over in West Cumbria was the Micklam Brick Co. And that happened to be a coal mine. And it virtually ceased to be a coal mine. In fact, all it did was bring out clay for bricks. And we'll see a Micklam brick later on. There we have it. That's the Micklam brick. And of course, these don't only come in one shape. Some of the Micklam bricks are a different frog. So, I mean, I can't honestly and truthfully tell you the different clays and the different firings, because that becomes extremely specialist. towards Stocksfield, just the other side of Hexham. And Micklam colliery was a large colliery. I mean, it operated for a long time. But the interesting thing is on here, it says NCB. And that puts it back probably to the 1950s as a brick. And it did come from the northeast side, probably one of the Pennine mines. But, you know, little individual history itself. Brilliant brick, look at the quality. Walker, Corbridge, I love it. Why didn't they all do that? It would make it so simple. But we're talking about a brick probably 1870s, maybe earlier. As soon as you get the serifs, as I've already said, it's the educated hand. And this is from Greenside Mine in Patterdale, our biggest lead mine. And they brought in bricks from all over. But a lot of them were supplied by this company. Brilliant, yeah. Lovely thing. I mean, the thing is that what you've got is in the limestone, which is a mudstone, it's permeated with the hematite muds and what have you. So that would become a red limestone. Whether they would use it for ruddle or anything, I don't know, but it's already a contaminated brick. I mean, it's like the red sandstone. It is said that it is contaminated through the iron. Well, this one here is a Seaton brick, again West Cumbria, and if my memory serves correctly, this came from one of the coal mines over there. But really striding out, because we were just talking about Scotland, and I've just noticed this one here, and this is from the smelt mill flue up at One Lock Head, Glen Boig. And Glen Boig was a huge brick kiln area, excellent hard grade bricks, and there were, the first time I went up, quite a number lying around, but very, very shortly after we'd been, the site was sort of excavated and cleaned up, so we lost a lot of archaeology, which is just general as to what has happened in and around our country, not just here. Just in passing, this is another local brick from Harrington. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what the ST stands for. Harrington is just again on the west coast. But this is a yellow brick, yellow clay, and most of the clays over there, of course, are red, because a lot of the permutation is from the hematite. Right. I mean, one of my favourite bricks, and I was quite excited, I know, when I found these. They are found in more than one site, and it's Ramsay. I love the lettering. It says it all, you know, the serifs are on there. So it's dated it well before 1900, and these appeared in various mines on the Colbeck Fells, and it just shows the antiquity of what was happening. This one here, very, very, very high profile engineering brick, and it's Edwards of Rubon, wherever that is, probably Scotland, because this came from the coal field just up over the border into Carlisle at Canonby. I'd never seen the brick before. It could be up from somewhere near the the west coast of Scotland, the Glenboig area and what have you, where they did have many different brick kilns, and of course to whiz those down by rail in hundreds of tons for general building would have been no problem at all. This here, see, bricks are really interesting. I mean, look at the way that this company has actually embossed its name of pride onto the brick. Harrison's Car House. It's a yellow brick, yellow clay. I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that this is from the northeast. A lot of northeast bricks came in from this side, brought in by rail virtually onto the sites for all kinds of different building. Obviously on the hillside what happened was a lot of the buildings were made of random stone off the fell. So where we're taking the bricks from is the fire grates, the back-ins, maybe a bit of the hearths, maybe the smithy. And so consequently they all literally do have a tie-in. But I've got to stress that our bricks are not just bricks that we picked up. They all are from various mine sites from all over Cumbria. Well, this was quite amazing when we discovered this. I mean, I know Clafton Manor Brickworks, it actually has the last aerial flight working in the country, which is where they're bringing the clay down from the quarry, which is about 1.5 miles away, on a telepherique, just like you see on the ski lifts, but with buckets bringing the clay down. And we used to go up here as kids when we were playing, because I'm a Lancastrian. This is about 6 miles away from where we lived, and it's a Clafton Manor Brickworks, Caton. But up on the hill, overlooking Warcock Range, is the Brough Barite mine, and the blockhouses for the army and military are all made, or most of them, of Clafton brick. So it was really strange, sort of 55 years later, I see a Clafton brick in the middle of nowhere. And so the Clafton Brickworks is actually still working, or it's on care and maintenance at the moment, and as we speak now, 2012, everything is still on site. The aerial ropeway is still there, etc. The kilns are still there, but of course now it's been taken over by, I believe it's Hanson. It would be unfair never to mention the Furnace Brick Company, Barrowing Furnace. There's another company down there, Askham Brick Company, still working in fact. It's quite amazing that a place like Barrow, and just outside there, is still actually operating and making bricks, and has been for a number of years. So yeah, this is a red engineering brick from Barrowing Furnace. They didn't only just build ships, you see. This is a very old brick, I think, or is it a new brick that's just been badly battered about? But the important thing with this is that this is from the buildings. P-E-R-C. Oh, Percy. Yeah, Percy. Good man. And I can't read this, but this came from Roughton Gill and was part of the structure of one of the houses there. So I'm not going to say it's a wildly old brick, but they finished there in 1882. So I'm going to name this brick about 1860. That would be comfortable. Now, as we've been going through them, you'll have seen that some of the bricks are all sort of different shapes and sizes. Some are sort of angles for making arching, some are making sort of the similar way for making chimneys. and this is like an air brick or a ventilation brick. It's very light. I mean, as a load bearing system, if I drop this it would break. Now some of the other bricks, the heavy engineering blue bricks, they are really seriously, you know, these are the things that when you're drilling into the wall, like in this building here, it might look a bit decrepit, but the bricks are unbelievable. You put your drill into it and it starts to burn the drill out. So very, very unusual bricks. Of course, in a lot of farmhouses you see stuff like this, but it's not what you would call a good brick. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure about this, what it is or what it was used for. Unless it was used for making some sort of column or strengthening, I don't know, but it came from the gypsum works at Cocklakes. So just an unusual shape, completely different, and it's quite light. It's not a heavy brick, and there's sort of bitumen on there. Now this brick here is a handmade brick, and as you can see, real rough job. You know, it's got clinker, bits of stone, and probably would date from, if I was to be bold and say 1800, it wouldn't be much earlier, because if we compare it with this brick, they're basically the same size, and the very early bricks are thinner and smaller, and there is a site at Stonycroft Smelter where there are some very, very old bricks indeed. The sad thing is, of course, they are handmade. They've been ravaged by new build going on top of what was the original site at Stonycroft Smelter, so the bricks are all smashed up. You may find the odd one if you're lucky enough, but that is the clue, is that apparently these are, my finger spans 9 inches, and a brick, if I remember rightly, is 9 1/4 or something strange, and these were about that, and then they were thinner than this and not as wide. So early brick being very, very crudely fired. This one has well, you could nearly say a ring with it, because this is Grimethorpe Colliery, the famous band. It's from Carlton, Maine, and of course a lot of the collieries over there were all called something Maine. And so, but interesting that they had their own brickworks, as we've already said. Part of the coal industry burst out onto the scene to get the coal, and then suddenly found they got loads of clay, and an extra sort of source of revenue. Now if we turn this over, it's unlucky 13 on there, and it says on here Gatebeck, and that is where it's from the gunpowder works. So a little bit different. This one wasn't collected by me, but it is an important brick. North Bitchburn Coal Co, Darlington. It's a face brick, probably for the showers. Alright, nice thing, very, very heavy, and it's from Highgrave, Durham, 1874. So we're going back a bit. I don't know where the 1874 comes from. I'm dubious. I don't like the lettering. It's too smart. This one again is, well, we've talked about it as we've gone through. Fire clay works. So, you know, these were places where they were actually mining clay, nothing else. And this is from Kilmarnock, and all around that area they had a whole array of engineering bricks, and you know, they also came down over here as well. So that's just a small selection of our bricks. I'm sure that Peter will enjoy unravelling the story because it is great. You know, there's a lot to learn from what we've actually built our towns and cities from the earliest times. You know, brick manufacturing and brick, extracting the clay has been going on for time immemorial. When man found the river mud and started to develop, probably just putting lumps of clay around a fire, suddenly found that heat turned that clay into brick, and then of course the industry was born. But we're going back very, very early, and this is unfortunately why, because I'm dealing with the mining industry, we haven't pulled in earlier bricks, because the early men just used the stone which was readily available all around him.